One, two, three. Wacky. Here you are. We're
Okay, so I
playing.
played on stream on Monday this past week, Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl. It's developed by Interabang Entertainment, and it was released on NES, Switch, and Steam. I played it on Switch.
I'm back.
There's a lot to like here. I'm a giant fan of the Jay and Silent Bob films. They're really fun, but the game is really cute and, quite frankly, kind of stupid, a la the Universe. It's a great homage to the classic NES games that I love. There's a familiar boss rush at the end of it, which is really kind of cool. Not something that I expected to see out of an 8-bit brawler, but it was neat. One of the bosses was a Mega Man fight.
That's awesome.
Cockknocker from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, played by Mark Hamill, is the Mega Man boss. And because I'm a giant Mega Man dork, I knew exactly how to approach that fight and rollicked him the first try. And he's like the second to last boss of the game, so pretty late on. So the 8-bit brawler gameplay is really, really very fun. The problem comes when they take that away from you. And they do it twice. Three if you count the Mega Man fight, which is similar enough that you can kind of get by, especially as myself, I am very familiar with Mega Man, like I said, and I can get by that no problem. The biggest problem that I ran into, or the two biggest problems that I ran into, were at the end of level 3, there's a Battletoads terror tunnel segment in a shopping cart.
Battletoads.
Which, great. If you want to play that, go play Battletoads. I don't like the idea of playing an entire 8-bit brawler level and then having the Battletoads segment. And if you fail, you go all the way back to the beginning of the brawler level.
That's
there
so
is
brutal.
no checkpoint.
That's like where I
so-
stopped
No save
playing
states. You can't.
every Battletoads game.
There's no
As soon as I
save
get
states
there,
in the
I'm
game or
done.
anything like
Beat
that.
the game.
There's no save states. So it is a, for all intents and purposes, new game.
Yeah.
So for the first 2 levels, I cleared off stream in about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Level 3, I jumped on, I streamed for 2 hours and couldn't get through it. That's what you're watching right now, is me failing colossally on this Battletoads segment. It was a nightmare. I find later that night, I went back and, we talked about camera brain last week. I just separated myself from the camera. It still took me a further 2 hours to clear that level.
Yikes.
And that totally breaks up the pacing of the game.
Yeah.
And by the time I finished it, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. The next day I sat down and I cleared levels 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in less than 2 hours.
Damn. So that
So it
just
was
totally
smooth
roadblocked
sailing.
you.
Exactly. It was smooth sailing beyond that. So I was like, well, if I had gone live with chapter 4, this would have been a much more entertaining stream. Instead, it was me bashing my head against the wall for 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh, sounds so painful.
yeah, it was awful.
We've all been
So
there. Oof.
It was fun. Like the segments that were normal were fun. Oh, I should also mention there was a second bit that threw me off and actually made me stop playing the game. I got to the end. I got to the very last boss fight, which is, spoiler alert, Dante and Randall.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, this is great. It's just a classic River City Ransom finale. Dante and Randall are unpowered. I was wrong. They are overpowered. And I saw, about halfway through the game, after chapter 3, they give you a boss fight. It's the Golgothan from Dogma, the poop demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it's a great fight. You just bash him down with a toilet plunger, and it's hysterical.
That's awesome.
And if you die, it just brings you back to the top of that fight. So they
That's
set a
great.
precedent at some point that you are just going to jump back to the beginning of that boss fight. In the final boss fight, you go all the way back to the beginning of the boss rush, the previous chapter, which is a 25 to 30 minute run every single time. So by the time you get back to that final boss, you've completely forgotten how they operate, because you focus so much on beating Adobo, the pretzel monster, and Mooby, and the Easter Bunny, and LaFours, and the Golgothan, and Cockknocker. So you don't have a clue how Dante and Randall operate by the time you get there. So you die every single time. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. I watched the finale on YouTube, and the guy who was playing it was like, yeah, no, I had to use a Game Shark, like, or a Game
What?
Genie. I couldn't get through it. He put Bob into God mode and used Jay as a sacrificial lamb. And I'm like, that says a lot right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that kind of says everything you need to know.
Even the people pro running this game hate it.
Exactly. So yeah, right.
Oh
so
my God.
the gameplay, when it's an 8-bit brawler, is extremely fun. At like 8.5 on the gameplay. When it's not a brawler, in other words, those ridiculous boss fights, the terror tunnel, the Mega Man segment, if you're not a Mega Man fan, it's like a 3.
Oof.
It throws a horrible difficulty curve at you. So again, while it's being what it professes to be, it's very fun. When it's not, it's not. So I would just, honestly, I would rather just play Double Dragon or River City Ransom.
Wow.
Ooh, Double Dragon.
Yeah, that seems like I understand what they were doing. It sounds like they were trying to probably like pay homage to, you know, multiple games in that genre from that time period.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
and they did. And like I said, the Mega Man fight was spot on. It was absolutely spot on, and it was beautiful, and I had so much fun. Every single time I fought Cockknocker, I was like, this is exactly what the Mega Man fan in me wants. But that's exclusive to me. If you're not a Mega Man fan, you are not going to enjoy that fight.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, I am a Mega Man fan, but I can totally see how that would take you out of the experience.
Yeah.
What an interesting choice to make.
Yeah.
And I understand why they did, because and I'll get into that in a second, but it's just such an odd decision to make. The music, the sound design, the art is all very cute. It's exactly what you would expect out of a Jay and Silent Bob experience. It's trippy, it's adorable. There's poop monsters. There's a homicidal Easter bunny. Like, it's really a Jay and Silent Bob experience in that regard. And seeing those characters that we know from the movies rendered down in 8-bit is very pleasing in that way. So in that regard, very cool. Was the game difficult? Like I said, not at first, and then holy balls. And then not again at all. And then holy balls.
That's so stupid.
It was really dumb. Would I play a sequel? Probably not. It was cute once. I don't think I'm definitely not going to play this again. I'm not going to finish it. And the reason that Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl exists is because there was a Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign for a game called Chronic Blunt Punch, which is a more, I think it looks like a tactical game. I'm not 100% certain, but they ran out of money. And so they were like, okay, let's get something out to the backers. Here's this 8-bit brawler. And I was like, cool, a Jay and Silent Bob game. I like Jay and Silent Bob. I will pay a small amount of money. I think it was like $15 for this. And I picked it up and I was like, great, fine, I'll play this eventually. And of course I played it this week. And I was like, sure, fine. Is it worth $15? Probably not.
Damn.
That's what they did with the Bloodstained games.
Yeah.
But they did it successfully. In fact, I personally like Curse of the Moon better than the main Bloodstained game that they came out with. And then they came out with Curse of the Moon 2 later on, which is also fantastic. They're both really good games. I think they nailed it on the head. But like kind of the exact same thing happened where they kickstarted this game. They had, really big, hoopla for it, and they kind of failed to meet their deadlines, and were running out of money, so they put out these other two like 8-bit style Castlevania games, and they ended up being fucking great, like absolutely fantastic.
Like, this had a lot of potential if they just were like, okay, no, we're just gonna pay homage to River City Ransom, and that's it. That should be like a 45-minute experience. I beat River City Ransom having zero experience with it on stream in 45 minutes. The first time I played it. Adam, you and Adam were like, you got to play this game. And I was like, great, fine, I'll do that. I streamed it, beat it in one sitting. And that was a great experience. I love that game to pieces. This should have been that. And it just wasn't. It was just a letdown.
Oof.
Yeah. And so if you're a Jay and Silent Bob fan, like even then it's a maybe game. Like you're gonna be underwhelmed, I think. My overall rating, like I can't
here we go.
Yeah, I can't go higher. I can't go higher than a 6.
Oh, it sounds like this is a generous 6, honestly.
It's a generous 6. And you know, it's because when it's, like I said, when it's being a brawler, it's awesome and it feels great, but they don't give you the tools you need. The weapons break. Hello, Breath of the Wild.
God, durability in a game like that? Are you
well, that's pretty common in games like this. Yeah, because like think about any brawler where you pick up like a bat off the ground, you get to use it so many times. It's going
pretty consistently. You get 3 swings with it, and then it breaks. That's not enough.
Wow, that's really
like
low.
A sock full of quarters is not going to break after 3 swings. And yes, you do get this. You do get to clock LaFours with a sock full of quarters, and like I said, that's fine. I can mitigate that, but it's not good enough to overcome the horrible, grindy segments that don't make any sense in a brawler.
Yeah, that's whack.
Yeah.
So, I just can't go higher than a 6 on it.
Right on.
Oof, that's brutality. That's the most scathing review we've ever had, I think.
I don't think that's the most scathing. I think I tore apart. What game was it?
Even Goof Troop, you gave like a
Goof
7
Troop was
or 8.
awesome.
Goof Troop was awesome. We love
Silicon Valley, Space Station Silicon Valley.
Oh, you did
shit on that game.
You did shit on it.
That said, I do think that the game would be a lot easier with 2 players.
Oh, and it's optional. That's an option.
It wouldn't fix the fucking tunnel of doom.
Correct. In fact, it arguably makes that worse. Because you got 2 carts and you run into each other. But I think the final boss would be easier.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe if you have, and it is, I believe it's only couch co-op. So
Parsec.
Yeah, it is available on Steam. So I suppose you could do Parsec, but like, I don't know that. I don't think it fixes it. I don't think it brings it up higher than a 6.5.
This game is on the Switch. Is very weird.
Yeah,
I know that it's on the Switch, but
and they also released a limited run games. The same company that we're getting the Scott Pilgrim cartridges from did a NES cartridge, so you can actually get it on a NES.
Oh, that actually is kind of cool. That actually is kind of
cool. Insane. Can they keep doing that for lots of things?
I know, right?
They do it for a lot of things. Like they even made like with Shantae, they remade the Game Boy Color cartridge and stuff like that.
Oh my god! Cool. You know how much I would want that? Just like some Super Nintendo games remade or anything.
They do it, man. They do it
beautiful.
Frequently.
That's cool.
They do some really cool stuff.
Yeah. So there are things to like about it. Not enough of them.
Not enough.
Oof, that is pain.
Dang. Right on.
Dang, no one likes a painful game.
Round out the review. Any final thoughts?
I think that's what I'm going to say on the subject.
So do not play. Not worth the money.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Don't play.